Xiao Yan returns to the Tianfu alliance. Yao Lao could not stop the tears from streaming down his aged face, picking up from the previous events. Upon hearing this, everyone froze their expressions, quickly turning into disbelief. In just a few short minutes, a Hall of Souls branch hall had ceased to exist. Let's go. Seeing the comical looks on their faces, Xiao Yan could not help but smile faintly. He then turned and walked toward the distance. Go back and report to the regional commander. From this day onward, you are Earth-rank members of the Tianfu Inner Alliance. Hearing this calm voice, everyone's bodies trembled involuntarily. Members of the Tianfu Inner Alliance were divided into Heaven, Earth, Mystic, and Yellow ranks. Even with their contributions this time, at best they should only have been promoted to Yellow rank. Earth rank was still an impossibly distant goal. Yet this man could decide it with a single sentence. Senior, may I ask for your honored name? Captain Liu was also stunned. He immediately cupped his fists respectfully and asked, just tell them that Xiao Yan sent you. A soft chuckle echoed from afar, slowly reverberating in everyone's ears. Xiao Yan. Everyone abruptly raised their heads, staring in shock at the gradually disappearing figure. After a long moment, a trembling voice filled with excitement finally sounded. He is actually the young Alliance Master. Brother Xiao Yan, the Stone Clan has already been annihilated, and the Gu Clan must have suffered heavy losses as well. So this time I may need to return and check on things first. On a mountain peak, Xiao Yan gazed toward the northwestern horizon. Juna's clear and gentle voice echoed once more in his ears. A trace of melancholy surfaced in his heart. Moments later, he quickly calmed himself. With a flash, his figure vanished. As the core force of the Tianfu Alliance, the Falling Star Pavilion had expanded several times in scale. Powerful experts gathered there like clouds, and its defenses were impregnable. Even Dosheng-level experts would find it nearly impossible to infiltrate silently. Over the past 2 years, the Star Realm had undergone earth-shaking changes. New mountain peaks rose from the ground, covered with enormous pavilions and towers. At the very center of the Star Realm, a majestic great hall stood atop a mountain. Around it, strands of soul perception constantly swept back and forth, forming a net as dense as heaven and earth. At this moment, the atmosphere inside the great hall was heavy. Honorable Feng was reporting the battle situation to Yao Lao. In the past month, the Alliance has clashed with the Hall of Souls a total of 43 times. 3 of them were large-scale engagements. Although we destroyed one branch hall, we also suffered significant casualties. Yao Lao slowly nodded. These are minor matters. However, according to recent intelligence, the Hall of Souls may no longer be able to endure this stalemate. Honorable Feng pondered briefly before speaking again. Hearing this, the high-ranking members of the Tianfu Alliance all turned their gazes toward him. The intelligence indicates that the Hun clan will dispatch true top-tier experts to assist the Hall of Souls in confronting our Tianfu Alliance. Have you discovered who they are sending? Honorable Feng licked his lips, glanced at Yao Lao, then nodded. Hunganmo. After saying this, he scanned the room and noticed several confused expressions. So he added, a 6-star Dosheng. It is said that he once participated in the siege against Shaoshuan. Those final words struck like a heavy bomb, instantly causing an uproar in the hall. Shock filled many faces. The Hun clan had actually dispatched such a terrifying expert, clearly determined to annihilate the Tianfu Alliance. Hunganmo, a hoarse voice suddenly echoed through the hall. As the voice appeared, nearly everyone fell silent and turned toward a corner of the great hall. There, a thin and withered figure sat quietly. It was Xiao Chen. He merely spoke that name softly before falling silent once more. Only those with exceptionally powerful perception could sense that the space around Xiao Chen seemed on the verge of collapsing. His emotional turmoil was clearly immense. Why would the Hun clan send such a powerful expert? Aren't they afraid of provoking the Gu clan and the other ancient clans? Huoyun ancestor frowned. The ancient clans are all suspicious of one another now, fearing a repeat of the Spirit clan and Stone clan disasters. Who still has the energy to question the Hun clan's actions? The Pill Tower Grand Elder followed up. Moreover, this operation is also a test. Otherwise, they wouldn't have sent only Hunganmo. If that old monster truly takes action, we may be forced to ask our ancestor to intervene. But in that case, as long as the Hall of Souls Hall Master or Old Soul Demon holds back Senior Xiao Chen, the situation will still be restrained. After hearing this analysis, the Great Hall sank into silence. Although the Tianfu Alliance had developed rapidly, in terms of peak-level experts, it could only barely match the Hall of Souls. The Hun clan's move seemed to have directly shattered this delicate balance. If Miss Ziyan were here, we wouldn't be so troubled. Someone sighed softly. Ziyan's participation would undoubtedly be a tremendous boost. However, because the matters of the Taishu ancient dragon tribe had not yet been resolved, and after the 3 dragon kings fled with injuries, she had to guard the eastern dragon island until all 3 islands were completely eliminated. Silence once again enveloped the Great Hall. Only now did everyone realize that unknowingly, a massive storm had already descended upon the Alliance. As for the matter concerning the Hall of Souls Hallmaster, the Pill Tower Grand Elder hesitated briefly, then clenched his teeth and stood up. But before he could finish speaking, a clear and cheerful laugh cut him off. "Leave it to me." The sudden laughter caused the atmosphere in the hall to freeze momentarily. Immediately afterward, all eyes turned toward the entrance. A slender figure slowly appeared in everyone's line of sight. Xiao Yan. The moment the figure appeared, Honorable Feng Huoyun ancestor, and the others were all shaken to the core, disbelief written across their faces. Yao Lao stood there with his mouth agape, staring unblinkingly at the approaching figure. The vast Dao Qi within his body erupted due to emotional turbulence, instantly shattering the chair behind him into powder. Yet he paid it no heed, trembling as he rose to his feet, tears welling up in his eyes. For the past 2 years, he had thought constantly of Xiao Yan. Having neither wife nor children, Xiao Yan was the closest person to him in this world. Under countless gazes within the Great Hall, Xiao Yan's figure flickered and appeared directly before Yao Lao. Looking at the elder whose tears streamed freely, Xiao Yan felt a trace of guilt. His disappearance over the past 2 years had truly caused too much worry. "Teacher, I'm back." Master and disciple looked at each other, emotions surging in their hearts, before finally turning into a soft, deeply moving sentence. "It's good that you're back." The tense lines on Yao Lao's aged face finally relaxed into a smile. His dry palm patted Xiao Yan's shoulder repeatedly as he continued to murmur those same words. "The young Alliance Master's return is truly timely relief. This will greatly ease the pressure on the Alliance. With the 2 of us joining forces, we should be enough to restrain the Hall of Souls Hall Master." The little Pill Tower Grand Elder laughed. However, before his words could fully settle, Xiao Chen, who had been sitting silently in the corner of the Great Hall, suddenly let out a soft chuckle. The sound was low and hoarse, yet it carried an inexplicable weight that caused the surrounding space to faintly distort. Slowly raising his head, Xiao Chen's deep ancient eyes swept across the hall before finally settling on Xiao Yan. A trace of undisguised approval flashed through his gaze. With his current strength, Xiao Chen said calmly, his voice steady yet absolute, "Facing the Hall of Souls Hall Master alone is no longer a problem." The moment those words fell, the great hall plunged into deathly silence. For an instant, even breathing seemed to have stopped. One by one, the expressions of the Tianfu Alliance's high-ranking members froze. Shock, disbelief, and astonishment surfaced simultaneously on their faces. That was the Hall of Souls Hallmaster, a peak existence who had stood at the apex of the continent for countless years. A terrifying expert whose name alone was enough to make even Dao Sheng-level powerhouses wary. And yet Xiao Chen had stated without the slightest hesitation that Xiao Yan could face him alone. Slowly, all gazes turned toward the young man standing beside Yao Lao. The slender figure before them appeared calm and composed, his aura restrained to the point of seeming ordinary. However, beneath that tranquil exterior, many present could vaguely sense a vast and unfathomable power, like a slumbering volcano hidden beneath still waters. You... Yao Lao's body suddenly trembled, his eyes widened as he stared fixedly at Xiao Yan, his voice quivering uncontrollably. You refined the purifying demonic lotus flame." The moment those words were spoken, murmurs instantly erupted throughout the hall. The name of the purifying demonic lotus flame was no stranger to anyone present. It was a supreme heavenly flame that even Dao Sheng experts dared not touch lightly, a terrifying existence capable of burning heaven and earth alike. To refine it was something that bordered on the impossible. Facing the countless shocked gazes, Xiao Yan merely smiled faintly. His expression remained calm without the slightest hint of arrogance or pride. "Just," he said softly, "a stroke of luck." Yet those simple words struck everyone's hearts like a thunderclap. They all understood that what he called luck was in truth built upon unimaginable danger, countless life and death struggles, and an unshakable will that ordinary people could never possess. At that moment, many finally realized. The young man who stood before them was no longer merely the talented youth of the past, but a true pillar of the Tianfu Alliance, a supreme powerhouse capable of standing at the very forefront against the Hall of Souls. And with Xiao Yan's return, the dark clouds looming over the Tianfu Alliance seemed, at long last, to show signs of being torn apart.